This is the 40 Days for Life podcast with your host, Sean Carney.
Hello, thank you for joining us today on the 40 Days for Life podcast. I'm Sean Carney, the president of 40 Days for Life, and your host for this podcast, which is dedicated to helping you end abortion where you live. We hope you all had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Please go and listen to our 4th of July podcast. Today, we are covering a very important topic that somehow we have never covered before, and that is security guards at abortion facilities. That is our topic today, and somebody who has never needed a security guard because he's very capable of defending himself is Mr. Steve Carlin.
I'm a very dangerous man.
Just by looking at you, we can tell.
Is it like psychologically dangerous?
It's the beard.
It's the beard.
Psychologically
These
dangerous.
hands are licensed. Deadly weapons.
A very dangerous man. I'm going to say that when I get home to Mary Lisa.
Put it
Very
on-
dangerous.
Put it on your LinkedIn.
Well, we could probably do that now that we don't have the Biden DOJ. We wouldn't be arrested as a domestic terrorist, although I still think we're listed as domestic terrorists. I have a little bit of a history thing that I need to ask you about. This is a Heather's here also.
You almost made it without
I did
going at all.
no introduction. I think that actually is disrespectful, in all fairness. Okay, so Steve wasn't there, but at the 40 Days for Life gala, I made a joke, okay? And the joke was that I think you should, like, my high school kids are good drivers, right? So the fact that they can't rent a car, I think is dumb. Their driving's actually really good. I think you should have to be 25 to open a box of cereal. Because no matter your age, you come in and it looks like Edward Scissorhands did a line of cocaine and opened our box of cereal. Okay, right. Everybody laughed, Heather laughed. So I got an email recently. And what I enjoyed, first off, anytime you can give a pro-life talk and say Edward Scissorhands and line of cocaine, it's just worth going for. But somebody who was in attendance of that, like months later, wrote me an email and said, I went in and it was just, because everybody got it. They're like, I know, the kids can never open a bag of cereal. Like, what's the deal? It's all shredded at the top and all that. And the stuff's falling out. So he wrote in that he went out, it was like Saturday morning, there's like 3 boxes of cereal open, they're all butchered, and he's like, I literally wanted to go get the flour and like drizzle it next to the cereal like Edward Scissorhands. Like, you remembered the joke, okay? So this begs the question, because I just did it to be funny and I think it's true, but like, I have a rule in our house where like, I have to open the cereal. Part of it is controlling, but also just, it ruins it, they ruin it. But all of them, Timothy can do it. He's 5. They can all open those little bags of chips, like a little bag of Doritos.
Normally.
The bigger the bag, the easier it is to open. I've never been able to figure out. First off, they ripped the cardboard box off totally. Yeah. So the little tab thing, that's been demolished. You're not going to snap that thing. That's gone. And then you have just the plastic, it like slowly pulls apart. It's not a fierce thing, which the chips can be, where they get stuck. Especially like the cheap store-bought stuff that we buy. It's like the glue that RFK is trying to get rid of. But
along with the cereal.
Yeah, along with the contents. But the cereal, it's like a slow, nice, smooth detachment, and they can't do it. And I don't know if it's the excitement, but I remember growing up as a kid, and I loved me some cereal. I thought Frosted Flakes were like, I thought that was like a vegetable. I took pride in opening the bag. Like, I didn't want it to be all ruined because I didn't want the cereal to go bad. Why does that happen? To me, milk spilling and this are my 2 big issues with having children.
And changing diapers. Wasn't that?
No, I was fine with that.
It was, no.
I don't clean up throw up.
Throw up, yeah, never mind.
No, diapers were fine.
Right.
And Mary Lisa will say, he changed a lot of diapers.
Yes,
he was
yes,
super
yes,
helpful.
yes.
He was super helpful. I do dishes and I do diapers. I don't like cleaning any kind of floor.
Right.
I'll do it. I'll sweep because I don't want her to always have to do it. I can't stand folding laundry. So she's done all the laundry. And she likes doing it. She said, I like doing laundry and I like doing the dishes. So we kind of got that worked
That's
out.
nice.
Yeah, it is nice. No. So we all are both contributing, and I did do the diaper thing. But
I have a solution to your cereal problem.
cook them like eggs and bacon and healthy things.
No, do like the super organized pantry people and just as soon as you get home from the grocery store, empty out all those things into your Tupperware type of or glass containers that fit and look nice in the pantry.
I
and
can't do that.
Store them and
Yeah.
it keeps them longer.
It does. I guess it does keep them longer.
It does.
Here's the problem. Those things, I don't know why. I have some psychological problems when it comes to germs, as you know. Those things creep me out.
How does that creep you out?
The marketing of the cereal is so awesome. You've got like Tony the Tiger, you've got Cinnamon Toast Crunch, it's flowing, the milk's hitting it. If I just see this sitting in a plastic container, I'm like, who's going to eat that? The kids won't. I don't think that they would eat it. I think that they have to see like
Tony the Tiger
Celinda would be
on
like, it's not Apple Jacks, it's I want green. You know, it's like the color of the box. So I don't think I can do that. That is a good idea though.
Okay.
The other issue that I have with my kids on this particular topic is this would be really frustrating if we were like a cereal family and everybody ate cereal every day. We don't. They hardly ever eat it. I don't think we've ever finished a complete box of cereal in our life.
Such wastefulness.
I hate it because by the time it gets to like the third, they don't want it. There's a new box. Most of the time they're eating waffles and Nutella. Celinda's on the bagel and butter kick. I'm like, my girl. And
Bacon and
Seamus
eggs?
makes like omelets and eggs and all
There
that
you
stuff.
go.
But he's like
There
an
you go,
independent
Seamus.
entity. And then they don't put milk in the cereal. Only one kid does that.
Wow.
None of the kids like milk.
Interesting.
They don't like milk.
They don't like milk.
I've never heard that.
I was addicted to
Family.
milk until high school. I actually had to give it up for Lent.
You should.
Yeah.
You should be addicted to it. It's great. And you should be addicted to cereal. That's great too. I would describe myself as having an advanced knowledge of cereal. I could tell you a lot of information about cereal over the last 30 plus years.
That doesn't surprise anyone.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise anyone. And
You should probably work at like Kellogg.
like if I were left to my own devices, you guys went home and I could capture these guys, I would do a 3-hour podcast, March Madness style brackets ranking the best 68 cereals of all time.
Well, let's
Wow.
do the top 5. That's a good idea.
Oh no! Right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Top 5. Because the Dude Perfect list is awful. Awful. O's was the number 1.
What is that?
Really?
O's are good. O's are good
I
if
haven't
you
heard
have
about
the
O's.
molars of a T-Rex.
Been a long time. Yes, that's true. That's so funny.
Are we just pausing the film?
Yeah, no.
I don't know how to pick. This is like choosing my favorite child.
I've got a controversial one that I got one that's gonna be cause some issues.
This is hilarious. I'm not putting these in any order, but since y'all are writing, I'm coming up with the ones that come to
I
the top of my
stole
head.
your pen.
Honey Nut Cheerios,
Stop! Don't put any ideas
Fruity
in the
Pebbles.
minds.
We have to have something to fill the silence.
Okay, no, silence is good.
This is important.
Top-
Silence is
This
like
golden.
Top 5. We have to rank them.
Well, that's what you said. You just said let's do top 5. This is so serious right now.
Gosh.
This is where
I
we
love
lose.
this topic. I like this
listeners.
even more than I like the chips one we did.
I was gonna say you had the Dorito.
Jill
chips
hated that
one.
episode.
Oh yeah,
She thought it was not good.
the banter or the whole episode.
The banter.
Oh okay. Oh, but she
Oh,
went
what-
above and
what
beyond with the
banter?
graphics.
We ranked our top 5 types of chips.
That was a great banter. I can't
course
believe
you think so.
it's sad. We've done sodas too. It's sad that we haven't done cereal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go with number 5. Go.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Although
Same.
I don't know.
We're unanimous.
It's
That
top.
was my number 5.
'Kay.
My 4 is controversial.
That may be higher for me. I
Go
don't
with
know.
your 4 then.
I love it. Total.
I have
Bran
no idea what
flakes.
that is. Bran flakes.
Bran flakes.
Like it's not full of sugar.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm compromising my dignity because I like a healthy cereal.
Yeah, that's not good. This is My list
But
here,
I really like them, and my Granny Doyle would like make, because my grandfather had like 10 heart attacks, so she would make him total, but like slice up the banana and pour like sweet and low on it. Like I didn't do the sweet and low part, but the banana in the total.
I love the banana.
Phenomenal.
Yes, I love that with Honey Nut Cheerios
It's now
too.
like all brand. It's total went away, I think, but it's brand flakes.
Okay.
for me, we're no longer at risk of the DOJ raiding our homes, but I'm afraid that RFK is going to be at my doorstep when I get home. Because my number 4, I'm going to go with Cookie Crisp.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that my children like that. Yeah,
They're going to like some of the others on my list.
I
too,
respect you because I know it had a lot. It had its time, and a lot of people got into it. I just could never get into it.
Well, here's something else that ought to be known is back in the 90s, my mom signed up for something where they like product testing and they send you stuff and then you fill out a survey and then you get like $3 for it or something like that. And so they send us a box of one Cookie Crisp and a new Cookie Crisp. And I voted for the new Cookie Crisp. And then shortly thereafter, they changed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a trailblazer.
You're like Ginsburg.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your number 2 or number 4?
Oh, I don't know. Honey Bunches of Oats.
Great.
I love that one.
Okay. Number 3.
Reese's Peanut Butter Puffs.
Ooh, that'd have to be like number 2 for me, probably. Or
Okay,
number
phenomenal, addicting. Not in my top 5 because it's too light. Like I don't like the floaters as much.
Oh no.
What?
That has a double meaning.
Oh, that's not what I'm talking about. That sounded bad. Steve's out. This is a good time.
Done. He's done for the
It's a
day.
good time to either turn off the podcast or switch to the YouTube. Steve's dying.
It's what we call the series finale.
I'm just glad I wasn't taking a sip when you said that, like he was.
You know what I mean? The cereal that floats
Yes.
to the top of the milk.
Yes.
Okay, maybe floaters wasn't appropriate.
Yes.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Heather. What's the matter
Well,
with you?
floaters can be even when like a lot of parents don't like eating after their children or drinking after their children because like there's mystery stuff in the
Okay,
in the
I've
drink.
never heard that context. Okay.
Yes, yes.
That was okay. So you have time to recover. What was your number 3?
I don't know. I'll put Fruity Pebbles for number 3.
Okay,
Ooh, good one.
my number 3 is Golden Grams.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Golden Grams.
Forget about that. It's just such. It's always been with us, so you just take it for granted.
See, and that's what's funny because you've said before that you don't like the beaver nuggets from Buc-ee's, but
Right.
the beaver nugget, no, it's corn pops that they
That's
remind
corn
me of,
pops,
not
and I don't like
Golden
corn
Grams.
pops. So
Golden Grams is definitely better. Oh, that's
number
good stuff.
2.
Forget about all these.
Gosh, this is unbelievable. It's Fruity Pebbles for me.
Okay.
Number 2.
And that's where you are?
I said that for 3,
You just-
so
but like when you're in high school or college, my dream is that like RFK and the health department and Jocko and all the health gurus come out and say, we've been wrong. Everyone needs to go on an all carb processed food diet. That would be like my like dream. Okay. So I think
The evidence
I think we call
speaks
that
otherwise.
I think we call that gluttony in the Bible. So okay, so yeah, Fruity Pebbles.
I would say
unbelievable.
Reese's peanut butter for number
Oh, that's
Your
right.
2.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's your 2?
Mine has been discontinued, I think a long time ago, actually.
Lab rats were dying.
It's not Rice Krispies, but there was a cereal that was Rice Krispie Treat cereal.
They don't make that anymore?
I don't think so. I think that's been gone for a very long time.
Wow.
Interesting. Well, if it hasn't been gone, listeners, send in a box to Steve and make his day.
With a 12-pack of Surge.
You would agree that Fruity Pebbles is better than Cocoa, right? Even though Cocoa is awesome.
They both have their
Cocoa
place.
Pebbles.
Yeah.
I tended to go for Fruity Pebbles more than.
Plus, you got I love like on these boxes 11 essential vitamins and minerals.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of colored food. All right, what's your 1, Steve?
Chocolate Marshmallow Mateys.
Gosh, you got some weird ones. This is like your soda.
I think that's a northern thing. That doesn't ring a bell at
Never
all.
even heard
Here's
of
the
that.
deal. A box of cereal. So remember how I used to be fat? The reason I'm not anymore is because I rarely eat cereal anymore. But boy, would I like to. And a box of
would I
cereal is like 2 breakfasts for me. I can pound through that in no time.
Yeah, you have to eat the whole box.
Yeah. So But that's just doesn't seem economical. And so we get the big generic bag of cereal.
Okay.
Gigantic. And so
Yeah.
whoever these generic people are, it says their mom approves, so I trust them. It's like a mix of Cocoa Puffs, but then the marshmallows from Lucky Charms.
Because Lucky Charms is on my most overrated cereal of all time
you're
list.
very wrong.
Wow. Well, frankly, I'm not a fan of the rainbow, but I guess you were. So yeah, no, Lucky Charms is always overrated because I would go through and pick out the marshmallows like every other kid in America.
I did.
Why didn't they just
It's
give
called
you a
delayed gratification.
box of marshmallows?
Well, they did. They actually
They
did
actually ended
marshmallows
up
only
coming out
cereal.
with that. Yeah. There's okay. My number one is Honey Bunches of Oats
Oh yeah.
because they don't float; they sink. It stays on the bottom. But yeah, those are just. It's not healthy. There's this thing where it's like it's got almonds and all. It's like tons of sugar and carbs, but it looks healthier. But unlike every other cereal in America, maybe it's all the nuts. It actually sticks with you, like you're not starving an hour and a half later. Whereas, like if you eat a box of Fruity Pebbles, you're gonna be dying for some real food like in 2 hours.
Okay, I think that my number one would be the trio Cheerios, the frosted Cheerios, the honey nut Cheerios, and the what was it, whole grain Cheerios or whatever.
Just the
whole-
regular Cheerios.
regular Cheerios.
Yeah.
They had a box that mixed all of those. That was really good. I liked it.
Yeah, my kids like that actually, which is surprising. Yeah.
I think this banter section is only possible because now we're time stamping when the banter ends on the podcast.
Yeah, that's true. And this took a long time, but we spontaneously did a list.
important.
It's we'll be able to get through all the material.
You know what? You know who RFK would be after today? Michael Scott. Do you remember that from
Oh,
The
yeah.
Office? He was
Yeah.
going to start Mike's cereal shop.
Yeah. No. And like
be screwed.
I started this rant, but yeah, my kids they don't even eat, which is good. Cereal's not good
Yeah,
for you. So we
probably
don't.
good.
We just have these flashes where like they want it and then they don't want it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's funny. None of the teenagers eat cereal. Okay. Why do some abortion facilities have security guards? This is like a concept, and the response is that because we're terrorists,
Yes.
their lives are in danger, we're going to kill them, and they need security guards.
We're very threatening,
We're very threatening.
especially the 85-year-old grandmas
Yes.
carrying their rosaries.
So now some don't have security guards, which is kind of interesting because they don't have the money for it. But it is weird that guards have kind of replaced the escorts.
And this is what happened in Austin at our South Austin location several years ago. We had two locations in Austin for many years that both had escorts. So, it was very much like here in College Station. They made it, more complicated, but somehow women would still talk to us. But it got to the point where one of these facilities could, actually both, but this one in particular, could not get people to volunteer. They couldn't get enough people to volunteer. So they started hiring security guards, and they weren't just standing by the door. They were acting like escorts. So they were walking to the car. They had umbrellas to hold up and then block us from talking to them, even though umbrellas aren't soundproof. And it just became like a fiasco where they were activists. They were being little activists rather than being security guards. So it was kind of silly. But I know we're not the only. We've had other locations where things like that have happened too. It's kind of ridiculous.
It always seems to me like it's multifaceted. Sometimes I think they're there to perpetuate this narrative that we are dangerous. And other times I think they've got this idea that it will intimidate the pro-lifers of showing up. Like, ooh, we got to rent a cop here.
I think that that's part of it. I think it's so they can raise money off of security. I think that the guards cost them. We've raised money off of security, but that's because it was a real need because we didn't budget it, and all of a sudden we needed it when Trump got elected, going back to 2017.
Yeah, the first time around.
Yeah, the first time around, and so we didn't budget in security, and so when we had to have it, we really had to hit a little fundraising push. But it's not like you need $500,000 for security, so you can pay a cop whatever. $150 a day. But when you go out and say, we need security, these lunatics are outside, you're going to raise a lot of money off that. I always thought it was fundraising.
That was a funny thing is this same facility tried to raise money by showing that there was such a need for security guards, and they posted a picture on their website of the intimidating pro-lifers, and the picture they had, it just proved that they didn't have anything. It was one of our most dedicated volunteers who's been with us from the beginning. She went here to A&M before 40 Days for Life even started, then got involved with 40 Days and Coalition for Life in Austin. She's a mom of 10. She's standing at the driveway on the grass going like this, like waving. And I'm like, oh, man, look how scary this lady is. Like, that's your photo?
Well, and just from a marketing perspective, we've had some folks come out that look scary. Like, get their picture, and be like, we need security. And they're like, yeah, you do.
Which they usually don't miss a chance
Usually
to
they
get
don't
their
miss
picture.
a chance, but like the sweet mom of 10. Yeah, I've never understood that.
It reminds me, I think, was it the Obama administration where I think Planned Parenthood came out with, there's somebody in the abortion industry came out with this report of like, harassment and violence against abortion providers has increased 300%.
Yes.
And then you look at like, what are the actual examples? Like, our providers report receiving handwritten cards that say, I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And 40 Days for Life really changed the culture of what it means to go outside of an abortion facility.
And yeah, we should definitely be totally upfront. Like, obviously, there's been some really crazy people.
So that's the response. Like our building, the former Planned Parenthood, we have bulletproof glass. That we didn't put in; they put in. They got the little trap room in the front in case a lunatic pro-lifer were to enter. So I would say they had reason for concern. If I was working for Planned Parenthood and I was building an abortion facility, I would have done all those things. If I had lived through the 90s where there were bombings, shooting.
Yes, there were bombings. There was rescues, people chaining themselves to doors. And this was built in 1999, this building. So,
but I promise you 95% of Planned Parenthood employees today don't think that we're a threat.
Right.
They're just like, I'm not afraid of those people.
But I will say, I think it's been a while since we talked about this on the podcast, but I think we've talked about before how former abortion workers, going through Abby Johnson's ministry, and then the Renan will say, like, yeah, we had trainings that were security trainings to teach us about the threatening people outside. And so we had to have trainings on what to do if somebody enters the building. And because it was instilled in us that these people really are a threat, we started to believe it. Even if we saw otherwise, we started to believe that. And the reason that we have bulletproof glass here in this building, and the reason why before the remodel there was this extra locked door, was Abby's boss basically telling her, you need to go watch that movie, If Walls Could Talk. And that was a movie from the 80s with Sissy Spacek and Cher, and I don't remember who all the other, that basically ended up showing some lunatic going and walking into an abortion facility and bombing it at the end. And then that is what made Abby kind of be like, oh, I'm going to take this seriously. These people are a threat. And so she had those bulletproof glass windows put in and had all these extra measures put into place after that. And it's like, if you have that kind of training, it's no wonder why some of them actually are scared of you.
And I ask people not to come out.
Yeah.
Not because
certain people, yeah.
Not because I thought they were violent people, but because I thought they could be violent if provoked. I didn't think that they had the temperament to come out. And so they're a risk.
Yeah.
And it's like, they don't have to listen to me. It's a free country, which I told them. But I was like, I just don't think you need to come out here. And they're like, on every occasion, actually, they said, you're probably right. And I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
Just because I had seen a few things where I'm like, he's visibly mad.
Yeah.
You can't be visibly mad here.
Right.
You can be mad.
Yeah.
You can be upset, but you can't be visibly mad.
You have to hold your...
You gotta hold together. So, okay. Here's the thing with the security guards is Some people, understandably so, are like, they're the enemy.
Yes.
Because they're working here. Mm-hmm. And then there's the other group, which is, no, they're just security. They go to the mall, they go to Applebee's, they go to the soccer game, and then they are security guards. Here, they're security guards for everybody.
They're just
similar
contracted.
to like a hotel policy, right? Like if hotels were all ideologues, we wouldn't be able to have the symposium. We wouldn't be able to travel to our campaigns. Same with the airlines. Like United Airlines doesn't say you can't fly on our plane because you work at Planned Parenthood. And we don't want them to do that because eventually they'll turn on us. But you're choosing to, I guess we have to say security guards, how serious they are, we don't know, are willing to risk their life.
Yeah.
And I just don't, I do think that there's a culpability there because y'all get questions a lot, and we used to get a whole lot of them. Like, what do we do with this? Do we talk to the security guards? Yeah. We have a lot of security guards quit, which is always cool. We've had security guards convert. We've had a FedEx driver convert, say he refuses to deliver FedEx. So we applaud those people, but I don't think it's actually like the hotels and
It's not.
Because it's an individual decision.
You can choose to take that job most of the time or not.
Yes.
Whereas we had, unless you work for a particular company in Austin, where we had so many security guards that were converting on the issue or felt convicted that they had to stop working there, to the point where the manager of that security company was getting so mad that he would threaten to fire people if they did not specifically work this assignment, because he couldn't get people to work this assignment. And we even had a argument back and forth between this security guard and he would call the police on us constantly because we were not doing what he wanted us to do, even though what we were doing was perfectly legal. So he was constantly he was very threatened by us, and he was trying to bully us into doing what he wanted us to do. But multiple of those guards kept quitting because they were hearing us talk, or they would talk to us and say, I can't do this, in good conscience anymore. And so the manager's mad at us, and he would call the police on us.
So the head, this is really cool. I don't share this enough, but the head of Planned Parenthood's internal security, the guy at their headquarters, the national security guy, he told another national pro-life leader, this is probably 2014. He said, these 40-day vigil things, that was his term, these 40-day vigil things are killing them, and they don't know what to do about it.
Telling.
Didn't tell it to us, told it to another pro-life leader who, of course, ran over to us and told us. He was kind of defecting and, he eventually left. But that was the nature of the conversation. And this was so this is the first 6 or 7 years of 40 Days for Life. So we're like, oh, that's good. Like, that's something.
Yeah.
Right? To bite. Because we didn't have the no-show rate 70. That wasn't as big of a thing yet. And it was really, really cool because, unfortunately, what they then eventually, we don't know what to do about them. Well, that ended up the weaponization of the DOJ and Planned Parenthood, meeting with the FBI and saying, you got to get rid of these people. So it's crazy.
But I would say, to answer the should we talk to them, that's just like with escorts, that's a case-by-case situation. Like, if it's going to distract you from focusing on the main thing, which is trying to talk to women and men that are actually going in for abortions, then no, you shouldn't, because that's what they're trying to do, is distract you. But if you have an opportunity to talk with them and share with them without it distracting you from talking to women, then I say go for it. So there's some other stories. I know Steve knows some of these stories from our various locations with security guards. One of them that I love sharing about with people is this one particular one where I did a training. This is almost 10 years ago now, in Atchison, Kansas. And it was for Benedictine College.
Yeah.
For some students there. They wanted a sidewalk training, and they didn't have one.
What year was this?
It's 2015, somewhere around there.
That's funny.
Yeah. And it was a great group of students. And the next morning we went to go pray on the sidewalk. But
in Overland Park.
They were warning me. It wasn't in Overland Park. It was a now closed facility.
Oh, okay, cool.
But it was really cool because they kept warning me, like, there are some really aggressive pro-lifers out there. It's really, really hard for us to be there. Like, we have a hard time even recruiting students to come and pray. This is why we really wanted somebody out here to come and give us a training. And we just really want to shadow you. And also there's a security card, and also the abortionist yells and they get in shouting matches with the abortionist. And it's like, and I'm like, okay, I've heard of, oh, and also the pro-lifers will turn around and yell at us too then. And I'm like, what? What is going on? So I go there to see it for myself, and it was true. They had these 3 crazy guys who were just yelling obnoxiously, like being way over dramatic about everything. And sure enough, the abortionist gets there eventually. They start yelling at him. The abortionist is like, makes some comment about the Pope, and that sets him off because they're real anti-Catholic and they're real, he doesn't represent. It was just, it was a mess. It was crazy. And the students were just like, we don't know how to deal with this. So I just went and started talking to the security guard, and like with these 3 guys right behind me yelling and saying stupid stuff. And I was just like, look, I'm not with them. These students aren't with them. You've seen them here before. We don't condone this behavior. I just want to have a conversation with you. And he was super snarky with me at first and making all kinds of inappropriate comments and stuff. And I just ignored them and brushed them off. And then I got to the heart of it. He ends up after 20 minutes telling me that he's against abortion. So then, of course, I'm like, why are you working here then?
And you believed him, or is he saying that in an attempt to just kind of shut you up and get rid of you?
I
Hey, man, I'm with you.
I believed him.
Okay.
I believed him because he shared like a specific story of why and all this stuff. And I said, I mean, I believe that in some way he was against it. And so I said, why are you doing this then? You could be working in so many other places. And he like puffed up and he goes, to protect women from people like them. Yeah. And, like, because the crazy people behind me. And I was like, oh, and I was like turning around and I was like, well, that's telling. And then, told him about Abby's ministry and everything. So then we go back over to the sidewalk where the students are. We finish praying. And when the other crazy guys leave, finally the security guard, he starts kind of just meandering through the parking lot. And he no longer escorted the boyfriends that had to walk past us to go to their car. He even told the boyfriend, you don't have to worry about those guys. Like, I'm not here to escort you because of those guys. I'm here to, for the other ones. So that was like really affirming for the students, because they were like, oh my gosh, he talked to us and that's never happened. And he didn't even escort the boyfriend that had to walk past us anymore. It was really interesting. So it's just, I think it's a great example of being persistent. And I had that conversation with him after all the appointments had already gone in. This wasn't like I was being distracted or anything, but I think we at least planted seeds for this guy. And I told the students, make sure every time you come here now, you say his name and you say good morning and you say, how can we pray for you? And all those things. So anyways, we've got a few other security guard stories.
I had a fun one. Oh.
Or you can do your fun one.
Okay.
Either one.
I think it was day 1 of our fall campaign last year. And my kid's school pro-life group went out. So I went with them and just kind of show them the ropes a little bit.
Yeah.
It was great.
They went out in Madison.
Yeah.
That's risky.
In Madison.
Yeah, they go out pretty regularly. It's great. So I went out with them, help them learn the ropes a little bit. And the security guard walks up and is like, hey, I need to know what group you guys are with. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be telling you that, sir. Well, you need to. I was like, no, I don't. I'm putting together this report. Sir, I'm going to be honest, I don't care about your report.
He said, I'm putting together this report?
He's like, I need to for Planned Parenthood. I was like, I don't care about your report, and I'm not going to fill it out. You have to. And I said, sir, when you can show me a badge, I will tell you who we're with. And he pulls out like his rental cop badge. Like, I'm not even trying to be rude. I just cannot believe that this is going in this direction. I'm talking about like a real badge from like a real law enforcement officer. And he gets all red-faced.
Oh, yeah, you don't say that.
And walks away.
That's hilarious. That's great. I don't know how I missed that story. That's hysterical.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe, like,
who does this?
You're pulling out your badge from like Securitas. I don't remember what the name was. I think it was like a cognate of the word security. It was like,
right.
This is, when I said a badge, I meant like come back with a warrant. That's the type of conversation.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. World's greatest dad.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
We had this story from Marietta. Was this last fall or last spring? Basically, where a security guard was telling our prayer volunteers that the clients were protected by the FACE Act, but that we were not as prayer volunteers, and that was interesting. But the very fact that they were there was preventing women from going into the facility, and therefore they were violating the FACE Act. So that was a fun one to. This is why we need the ILJ. It's for
really
stuff
is.
like
No,
this.
This is why we need the lawyers. It's so true. You've had 7 security guards in Austin quit for moral reasons.
Mm-hmm.
How did you, to be the devil's advocate?
Those were the ones who told us
They
I can no longer work here in good conscience.
Heather's that good.
7. It was usually not me that was talking with them. We had some and it was like Saturday morning in particular.
Were
Yeah.
men talking to them?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Well,
helpful.
men and women.
Men and
Men and women, yeah. It was men and women. And there was one guy in particular, I'd say he was the most consistent, and he knew all the security guards by name, and he would say their name every morning when he would walk up. So there'd be some that they'd last a couple of months. There was one that lasted 1 or 2 weeks, and that was it. And they
It's
were
got to
like,
be uncomfortable.
yeah. Oh, for
And
sure.
with us there, it's a little bit of the circus.
Yeah.
And not circus that's exciting, like working a concert or something. I mean, that's what security guys want to do. But, yeah, that's just an odd thing of women going inside and having abortions, and you're kind of there. And,
Was your story you were just sharing about the same one where they were asking you your name and you wouldn't give it and they got mad at you? Or is that a different one?
It's the same story. They wanted to
same
know
story.
what
Okay.
our group was and what the name of our group was.
Okay.
And
Okay.
apparently I just
But
talked
they wanted
to
your first name too, and you wouldn't even give them that.
you didn't want to mess with it. Well, this is what stinks about working at 40 Days for Life, because we can't say certain things. You didn't want to be like, okay, let me spell it out for you. It's K,
Yeah.
K, K. We're the South Division.
Oh gosh, terrible.
Like, just go where they want you to go. It's a big N, the Nazis, capital N. We're big Nazis.
But these are students, and I'm not gonna go tell you the name of the student group. This is putting them at risk, and he needed it for his report. Apparently, my son's friends are still talking about. They're like, "Oh, we were just gonna tell him your dad laid down the hard line." I was like, "Well, we're not doing this."
Yeah, no, because there is, when it's a fake cop. This is like Sheriff Woody asking for your. It's like you're a toy. That whole thing is so
Funny because that's what they called him in the movie, Sheriff Woody.
Well, what was funny is the former workers were like, your name was a little juicier than Sheriff Woody. Had multiple names. Sheriff Woody was probably the nicest. I was like, I'll take Sheriff Woody.
Yeah.
We get the rest of those off air.
Yes,
I would love those. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, I'm sure there were multiple names. But, because we work here and are professionals, we can't make certain comments like that. But yeah, I'll give you groups' names. Okay. Cherry Hill, New Jersey, spring of 24. After a couple sat in the parking lot, they saw the sign, "You deserve better, and so does your baby." They pulled out of the lot, told prayer volunteers, "Thank you for being here." The dad shook the hand of one of our prayer volunteers, and both pregnant mother and dad were crying. Then the guard called the prayer volunteers scumbags. So this guy's a total loser.
Yeah. Pretty sad. But
security guards aren't supposed to have
opinions.
opinions.
Right. Isn't that interesting?
They're scumbags because these parents who chose life then thanked the volunteers for helping them choose life and were moved to tears about their decision, drove off happily ever after, and they're scumbags. Did he really call them scumbags?
He did.
Or did you edit that?
Nope.
Who uses that word?
That was the exact.
Isn't that like a Saved by the Bell? You scallywag, you scumbag. It's like, because you can't cuss. Security guard saying scumbag, he needs to butch it up a little bit. I'm not saying you have to drop the F-bomb.
We're
but if
criticizing
you're not even good at insulting us. If you're going to call us a name, make it kind of scary,
I do declare you are a
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen here, you bad guy.
Scoundrel.
Scoundrel. You rascal.
Yeah.
That's your favorite. Steve's favorite.
That is my favorite.
Oh, man. But yeah, that's just like, that's why I thought, oh, Heather Ed, because you put it in quotes. Scumbags.
Called them scumbags.
You guys are scumbags.
I think the leader called me that same day to tell me. And I remember her saying, did
And
he
that's
actually
like-
say that? And she's like, yes.
That's a big 80s thing.
Well, maybe.
Producer
this
John,
guy-
isn't scumbag your generation?
Oh, yeah.
Eight. Okay, you were, but you were a scumbag. I mean, like, come on, we've heard the stories. Okay, so that's just funny. You're throwing 80s songs at me now.
I kind of shared the Austin story already, but we had 2 years ago. This was actually the summer before Dobbs. It was May before Dobbs, right after the leak. And we had our annual women's brunch in Austin, and we hired security for our event because they were like, you should have security there after what just happened with the leak. And the office the building where our office was one of the ones that was vandalized. And so thankfully we had some good connections with security companies. And after our event, I had actually gotten up and shared a story about some security guards and how they changed their mind. The security guard at our event, came up to me and gave me a piece of paper and said, I just want to thank you so much for what you're doing. And he said, he left. He was done for his job. And his note said, my mom almost aborted me. Thank you for what you're doing.
Wow.
So he was standing in the back of the room listening to the talks and listening to this event and was just like, I think he already supported our mission. He knew what we did, but that even more so. And I was like, he didn't have to write me that note and share that with me. That was really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. He didn't have to share that. We've had security guys at our gala say stuff like that. Like, I didn't know what this was, but this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's really moving. We had somebody convert at the International Symposium one year.
A security guard?
No, sorry. It was I tell you what, it was the
hotel?
the translator.
The translator.
He was a agnostic Jew.
Uh-huh.
And he translated my talk like live at the headphones from English to Italian. We were in Italy. So it was in Italy.
Wow.
And I didn't even think about it, but I gave like the opening speech, and then at the end of the whole thing, he said, after your talk, I changed my mind on abortion. And I was like why or something.
What was it?
Yeah, what was it?
Yeah.
What did I say? And he said some stuff, and he talked about how the translation actually was better in Italian. Like, it gave it more depth. I guess criticizing the English language too.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I just gave your talk better than you did.
Your talk sucked until I changed it to Italian. But yeah, it was just funny because there's those little things that you don't think about, and I know we take for granted because we do this and we forget how many people are impacted by abortion, and we forget how miraculous it is that people change. So my security stories are kind of built into one person who was employed at this place full time. He was head of security for Houston. He was a jerk. I don't say that like I'm not trying to, but he just was, I usually he would walk, stand in our faces and glare at us, that kind of stuff, where he would come on our side. And I'm like, you're a security guard and you're literally trying to disrupt the peace. Plus, he wore these gay coaching shorts that were like gray and polyester and like the high socks over the calf.
You're in security? Is that supposed to be plain clothes security guard?
Yeah, he was in plain clothes. And
at least wear some jeans.
And he was just dated. He had a dress code issue and he was single for sure. And there's a reason for that. And he was a Vietnam vet and would throw that in people's faces. He's a very provocative guy. Wasn't caring that I could see, but he was like their head of security. And it was like the evil part of me was like, we just want to close this place just to stick it to you. Like he was that guy, right?
Yeah.
You don't normally, you're like want to save the babies and help women. And then there's just like these sidebar things that are like, I never want to see you ever again. And here's the bad part. It has a really bad ending. His name was Steve.
Oh, no.
It's like the first bad guy named Steve in history.
Sure.
We're usually
Sure.
like the champions.
You're right.
Steven Seagal, champion. Saint Stephen the Martyr.
Steve
First
Rogers,
martyr.
Captain America.
Yeah.
Go fictional.
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder.
Great guy. Steve Carell.
I was wondering if Steve Carell was going to come up.
Totally. Yeah. So that at the time he was the only Steve that I knew. I hadn't met you yet. And so so anyways, but he was just that guy. And looking back, I mean, I was like 19 years old when I met this guy. And like looking back, I'm like, he's like 60. I'm like, you're dumb. Like we were well behaved. Otherwise, I mean, he wasn't on the like protein weightlifting diet. He wasn't in like great shape. And so the worst moment, and I think I've shared it before, we go to Lufkin to launch 40 Days for Life, and we go out there. There's this rinky-dink Planned Parenthood. We're out there. Steve is there, okay, with his shorts. And we did have a Vietnam vet on our side who decided that he was going to, same age as Steve, he was going to dress like Steve. And he even wore the vest. He wore the coaching shorts. He wore the high-knee socks, like the yellow and blue socks out of the 70s. And it drove the real Steve crazy.
Oh, no. And you loved it.
Absolutely. So, anyways, so we go to Lufkin. It's 100 degrees. This old lady is there. Bless her heart. She passes out. It's just Mary Lisa and I and like a few other 20-somethings. And we need help from Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
Like the lady's passed out. She had just donated blood. I wanted to kill her.
Oh, gosh.
I thought she was dead as is. So she's passed out, and Steve has to come over and help us. And he points to me, and I have the Pray to End Abortion sign. And he could have been harsher.
Yeah.
But he said, make some use out of that stupid sign and fan her. And I'm like, fanning her, doing whatever he says, like I'm his kid. And so that was just like one of the worst moments because it's like we needed Steve's help. It was a great dose of humility. And then this lady, she didn't look good. I remember getting out there being like, she's super skinny, really old. I don't know how she's allowed to donate blood. And they gave blood and she passed out and, it kind of killed the whole thing.
But Steve had to help a pro-lifer against every fiber of his being.
And to his credit, I don't know. He could be a monk right now. I don't know what happened to him, but he quit eventually, but not converted at all. He apparently was a little bit like Hillary on election night when he heard about Abby's conversion.
Oh,
yeah. And that brought me a lot of joy. Steve, I hope you're throwing the plates across the room. But yeah. So it was kind of interesting.
How do you get that emotionally invested in it as a security guy?
I kind of felt bad for him because, I mean, he's old. He's single. I don't think he had kids. This was like his gig. He wasn't gay.
Maybe that's how he avoided children thanks to abortion these years.
He had a deep hatred of religion. He deeply hated Catholicism. That was their big theme.
So then he probably used to be Catholic.
Probably.
Probably. I remember thinking there's probably something there. And just somebody hurt him or it was the war or whatever. And he uses that as an excuse to be a jerk. But maybe it's a different time and guys like that wouldn't exist. But like when I'm 60 now, but or any age in my life, I'm not going up to like teenagers and intimidating them. And he would do it to like Mary Lisa.
Just like the escorts here.
Just like the escorts. And it's like, That's why she had to tell the English professor, "Sir, quit staring at me. You're making me very uncomfortable." She finally pulled that card because he was such a creep, and he was gone. If you tell a guy you think he's a pervert, it's over. You've won. You can't unring that bell. And like he was gone. He was gone. He was like huge English professor at A&M. And
Jeez.
I know. And so it's one of those things. Of course, the poor guy got cancer and died. But that was like she had just pulled that out. And because he was like
She was forced to.
intimidating her and like
Yeah.
walk. I don't know. There's just a thing with maturity of
Yeah.
just as I wouldn't show disrespect to like an elderly person who was like screaming at me or whatever. I don't know. There just needs to be, looking back, I'm like, I could have been Steve's kid and he's like trying to get under my skin. Like, how old are you? Like, what's wrong with you? I don't know. That to me was always a weird thing. A little bit of a boomer thing. I'll throw that out there. But that was always kind of like just strange. So that's my whole security thing is I basically dealt with that one guy.
Do you have one more positive story?
Well, you're saying my Steve was a negative one?
No. I said
It
more.
was.
I said more. Well,
I was dependent on the jerk security guard to save the life of an elderly woman.
no, I think that's good. I think
Do
that's
not
good enough.
donate blood
Oh gosh.
and go out to the 40 Days for Life vigil. This has happened to me twice now. Great people donate blood. We're life-giving people. I don't donate blood because I'm scared of needles. But if you donate blood, don't go out to 40 Days for Life. Okay, you got to say that.
You just gave an excuse for more people not to come out and pray now.
Okay. According to the American Heart Cancer, whatever, we need more people to donate blood. Please donate blood. And I have donated blood before, for the record. I didn't enjoy it, but I've done it. And so, but don't do it and then go stand out in 100-degree heat.
Yeah.
In Lufkin.
That's
and
a
pass out on me.
good word of advice.
Yeah.
We had a security guard at our facility, Planned Parenthood, and he was just mean. So anytime I'd show up, I just kind of greet him like, "Hey, how are you today? Praying for you," whatever, just something small, and then I'd leave him be because he was not in the mood to talk. And he'd just stare at you, just nasty look. He'd just glare. So one day, like "Hey, how you doing?" stares at me. I start praying. Like a minute goes by, maybe 2 minutes. I'm like, are they going to make you come out here and stand around in the cold and watch us pray in January when it's 20 degrees below zero? He just glares at me. A few minutes pass, he goes, "You guys going to be here in January?"
That's awesome. That's great.
Is the only words he ever
The only
spoke
words
to
he
me.
ever said, "You guys are going to be out here in January?" How long did he last?
Not until January.
Not very. No, he didn't make it till January. Yeah. No, it's totally true. I think it's good. It's sort of a sidebar, but they're there. They're human beings. We need to pray for them. We need to
Yes.
talk with them. I think there's a healthy level you can kind of mess with them. They're not the women. They're not the workers. They're not even the escorts. They don't have to be there. And for the mission of 40 Days for Life and the big picture thing, security guard turnover is a problem for
Yes.
Planned Parenthood.
Yes.
It's annoying for Planned Parenthood. It's expensive for Planned Parenthood. So the more you got to go out and hire somebody or vet somebody, it's the more time they're not focusing on doing more abortions. So I'm all for it. I think that I can't say fair game, right? That's not appropriate. But they are fair game, I guess. But as far as talking to, praying for, and just getting them out.
Yeah.
Because the jerks make no sense to me whatsoever because they're supposed to be,
No.
really not even paying attention to us. So
Something personal there.
yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Please rate, review, and share this podcast and post your agreements or disagreements with the top 5 cereal lists. We had some controversial picks, but overall, I think we really spoke for America. I mean, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Fruity Pebbles, they were on there. Honey Bunches of Oats. These are all American institutions, so we will enjoy them until RFK raids our homes.
Don't knock chocolate marshmallow mateys until you've tried them.
You can knock them in the privacy of your own home, and we're totally understanding of that. So do share this podcast, and we will see you next time. God bless you.